All right, Jillian, let's bring in Brett Tolman, former U.S. attorney and a former Senate Judiciary Committee counsel. So Jonathan Hunt mentioned this, but let me put it up on the screen. This was a statement from Abbe Lowell about this indictment. He said, quote, based on the facts and the law, if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought. Many people would probably argue that if his last name was anything other than Biden, they would have been in jail a long time ago, Brett.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, he put a period when he should have had a comma. It should have said they would not have been brought so late. Look, I have a different take than almost everything that's been reported on this case. One, he's not facing 17 years. These are not going to stack. These are misdemeanors. They're all going to lump in with one serious felony if he's convicted, and the maximum is not what he's going to be sentenced to. That would be 5 years, the maximum on the particular evasion count. He would be facing probably 18 months, John. And at that, remember, the prosecution is going to be able to control the sentence in this case. So I wouldn't think too much about the length of time he may be facing. Hunter Biden argues that there's bias. I think absolutely there's bias in favor of him. I have never known such a wide-scale investigation of tax evasion that did not also include a counterpart investigation of where the money came from. That is what would happen to you or me or Jillian if we were engaging in this conduct. They would then source where the money came from. Then you'd have a conspiracy charge that would wrap in everybody that helped to bring in ill-gotten gains like this. And we'd all be charged with a conspiracy, which would bring into 20, 30 years in federal prison.
Wow.
So, Brett, it sounds like you're making the case this is more than a mere accounting error, as is the prosecution. So $1.4 million in taxes he failed to pay over 3 years. Talk to us about the defense here from Abbe Lowell, saying, well, Hunter repaid that money already. Why exactly does that not matter in the eyes of the law?
Yeah, it is a factor for sentencing. It's not a factor that is often considered when bringing charges when it's really egregious. I mean, here, it's not just those years. Those are the only years that they could bring because the statute of limitation has run. But it begs the question, Jillian, why are they not also bringing the failure of Hunter Biden to register under the FARA Act? I mean, that is part and parcel to these same charges. So what I see is it's a robust 56-page document that outlines outrageous conduct, financial conduct, personal conduct, and yet at the heart of what he's being charged with, it could not be better for him. And remember, this will probably provide for him the justification to not have to sit in front of the committee as they investigate, Hunter and his family.
Yeah, sorry we can't do it. We're subject to an ongoing investigation. Maybe they didn't bring the FARA charge because, as you pointed out at the top, Brett, they didn't go back and pull the sourcing for this money. They're just looking at the crimes of tax evasion or failing to pay or whatever. Let me bring forward these charges. So look at this. We got to put them on 2 pages. There's so many. Failure to pay in 2016, failure to pay 2017, 2017 again, 2018, failure to file 2018, tax evasion 2018, filing a false return, felony, 2 counts of that in 2018, failure to pay 2019, which makes you wonder, how did the DOJ ever think they were going to get away with trying to cut a plea agreement and an immunity deal with Hunter?
They got caught, hand in the cookie jar, and now they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll be serious now. We'll try to bring something more serious."
That's simple, huh?
That's simple.
Well, I mean, just take a moment and explain to folks at home who may look at this and say, how did they try to pull the wool over everybody's eyes, and why? Was this a sweetheart deal? Was this what they typically do, and then they got caught? Now they got to go back, as you said, and file a serious charge. How does that happen?
All of the conduct that they allegedly were going to bring in the first case that they brought in D.C., that would you and I would be serving nearly a decade in federal prison for any of that. The taxes would be on top of that. Now they've bifurcated it. You're going to see very small sentence as a result. The average average citizen would be serving a decade plus in federal prison just on one or two of those tax counts.
Quick, before we let you go, we only have a second left here, Brett. Do we know that some kind of FARA-related charge could not come at some point further down the pike? Is that off the table?
It could come. It should.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I've got to leave it there. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah, I think we're just beginning to peel
Thank
back
you.
the layer of this ogre or onion because they're very similar things. All right, Brett, thank you.
Yep.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.